This is Markin Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Follow on Twitter. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Marking Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Spreading like fisting. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. We're marking out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans.
Welcome to Markin Out, Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. This is episode 727. Make sure you check us out at markinout.com. Also, give us a listen over at markinout.com on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, and also iHeartRadio. Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating to go along with that 5-star frog splash. Buy a t-shirt at prowrestlingtees.com/markinout. Give us a like over on Facebook. Give us a follow over on Instagram at markinout11. Give us a follow on Twitter and TikTok at markinout. Give us a follow individually. That is right. Follow me, Dave the Rave, over on all social media platforms at DavidPTDPT. Follow Chris at Chris Sweendog over on Twitter and CM Sweeney85 on the good old Instagram. But also make sure that you are following Brandon. You can follow him on all social media platforms at BTTG161. Thank you very much for your support. Now we can proceed with the following episode. Brandon, how are you doing?
I am doing awesome as always. How about yourself?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. How was your week?
I got to say, by the way, it snowed. And I shoveled, even though I didn't think I'd have to because I felt like it wasn't going to be around the next day. Hurt my back doing so. And then it was gone the next day. So, that was annoying.
You got it. I would be interested to know how you ended up lifting that. You can't lift and twist.
I didn't lift anything.
With the shoveling the snow.
I dragged.
Well, don't lift and twist. To all of our listeners, do not lift and twist.
What does lift and twist mean?
That's how you blow out your back.
But
when
how are you supposed to shovel
it,
snow?
You're prone to herniation.
How are you supposed to? You're supposed to lift and throw?
Lift. Take steps to turn. Take steps to dispose of the snow that's on the shovel.
I might have lifted and twisted.
You see? Many people do. You got to just take time.
I might have done that. I don't know. I might have done that.
All right.
A majority of my shoveling was dragging the shovel, but I might have lifted and twisted.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Gotta protect
that
back.
I made roasted chicken thighs this week, which is something I really hate making chicken. But it was good. I made it with potatoes, carrots, broccoli, onions. I used lemon pepper, so it was kind of spicy.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I put too much pepper. And then I put garlic and onion powder and oregano. But it turned out pretty good. That's all I could ask for when I cook chicken.
Mm-hmm.
How about yourself? What'd you do this week?
What did I do this week? I went to work. I went to sleep. I went to work again. Not much else.
Sounds like a Chumbawamba song.
Hey, I think we can create something there.
I went to work. I went to sleep again.
All right, definitely going to recreate that. That is our next TikTok video. It will go viral because it's going to feature the both of us.
Maybe.
So let's do it.
I'm going to say most likely that's not ever going to be a TikTok, but...
you never say never.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But something that was very exciting this week was Monday Night Raw that took place in Los Angeles, California, where I think it's very important that we send our prayers and thoughts to everybody that's been impacted by the awful fires that are taking place in the region.
Yeah, Monday Night Raw was very close to the vicinity of where all that devastation is right now. So,
yeah,
hopefully everybody
definitely
out
sending
there
our
is
thoughts
safe.
and prayers, and
yeah, And if you want to see how you can help, go to the Red Cross, redcross.org.
Yeah.
But Monday Night Raw taking place at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. They had that cold open that played on. They lifted up a screen before Monday Night Raw and surrounded the ring with a curtain, and the video played on all four sides. They had Monday Night Raw in 360 degree to fit more people, I guess. In the video, it went through the history of WWE leading up to this moment. I guess if you're somehow a brand new fan tuning in, it's a pretty good video to cover the history of what you're about to watch. I think they could have included more women from the past. There were a lot, obviously more from the current generation. And then after the video, the curtain dropped, pyro went off, and it revealed Triple H in that ring. You have a black canvas, sponsors covered all over that canvas. I almost feel like this whole intro is what Triple H wishes that NXT TakeOver Brooklyn was, because it gave me similar vibes there. I think the lights in the Intuit Dome definitely added to this Monday Night Raw. I thought that was pretty cool. All the lights by the seats.
Yeah, I thought this entire introduction was pretty great. I was a big fan. I like the changes that they've done to the ring as well.
Not the first time Monday Night Raw has had a black canvas, though. Can you name the other time?
Oh.
And I'm not talking about an interview segment or anything like that. I'm talking about specifically for wrestling.
I'll go with Hall of Fame induction.
I said specifically for wrestling. I literally just said that.
It's wrestling.
No, it's not. That's like an interview, basically. And I said for Monday Night Raw. Once I say it, you'll be like, oh, stupid, stupid, stupid. And it's not a Randy Orton thing.
Obviously, once you said that, I went right into that. Black canvas. Maybe Undertaker. No.
Do you want a clue?
Yeah, give me a clue.
It lives in NXT.
It lives in NXT. It lives in NXT.
I don't think you're going to get it.
Hit me with another quote.
Another quote?
Quote. Hint.
The horsewomen?
It lives in NXT.
Baba Tunde?
I'm sorry?
I said Baba Tunde.
Oh. No. Oh, is it combat, whatever it is, underground?
Raw Underground.
Raw Underground. There you go. I just needed a few more hints.
A few more? I basically gave you the door.
You know, I walked through it, though.
Well, speaking of walking through, this episode of Monday Night Raw, once Triple H was done, opened with The Rock. Classic theme song. Classic Trons. And he put over the Netflix executives. He put Cody Rhodes over, who was sitting in the crowd. He mentioned Roman Reigns. And it was a bunch of fluff. And felt like a swerve at that point.
I mean, what a face.
Yeah, I mean, he was getting cheered. Is a lot different than the last time that we saw The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And then that segment just ended, and they went right into the tribal combat match. Roman Reigns picks up the victory over Solo Sikoa there.
Hold on. There's a lot that you kind of skipped over with The Rock.
I don't think there was. I said a lot of fluff.
I mean, so you had a lot of people in the audience that he was paying attention to. One of them was Cody Rhodes.
Mention that.
I don't know how I feel about that. They just had an epic storyline with the Bloodline where he bloodied him up. You had
I think we have to put a pin in that until NXT, though.
Let's just talk a little bit about it now. So I don't know, because I don't know how I feel about Cody Rhodes just sitting in the front row, being the champion and everything like that.
Yeah, but everyone's forgetting. They literally had the thing the night after WrestleMania. They shook hands, they hugged. In the ring.
But we also still don't know what he gave him.
I think it was that watch.
No, the watch was given by Triple H.
Didn't Cody give The Rock a watch?
No.
I think he gave him a watch.
What The Rock gave Cody. The Rock gave Cody.
The Rock gave Cody his watch back, I think.
No. Triple H had a segment backstage where he gave him the watch.
No, you're confusing the watches. You're thinking of the replica watch from Dusty Rhodes.
Yes.
I think Cody Rhodes gave The Rock, Roman Reigns, maybe Paul Heyman, I don't know. Seth Rollins, I think, a watch at WrestleMania or the night after WrestleMania or something like that. I think.
And then?
And that's like real life stuff or whatever. And then on Raw, I think The Rock gave Cody back the watch or something. I don't know.
Oh, so you think that... I mean, we do not know exactly what was in that box.
I think it might have been the watch. That's all I could think right now.
It wasn't revealed.
No.
It was never revealed what was in that box.
I don't think so.
But I don't know how I feel about the acting like nothing ever happened and everything like that.
But they're not acting like that. You're thinking that. They're acting like adults.
I don't know. But what I do know is that I could also see the entire entity of The Rock is on the board of directors, and he has a real life persona that he has to be perceived as well, as an ambassador. And for him being at the Grammy Awards earlier in the week to being on here,
Golden Globes.
Huh?
The Golden Globes.
Golden Globes, yeah, the Golden Globes, and then being on Raw. I feel like him opening it up is very important, and then also for the people that do know him, I think that it was okay for him to be this face, especially if they're able to turn it into storyline wise. And this could always go into the, hey, Kevin Owens is right.
There's a pin in this until NXT.
All right, let's pin it now. I said what I wanted to say. Pin it.
Like I said, Roman Reigns picked up the victory over Solo Sikoa to, I guess, I don't want to say rightfully. I don't want to say earn either. He already was. Mm-hmm. He's just tribal chief. Solo Sikoa has to acknowledge him. The referees, by the way, across the brands have black shirts now. That I don't know how I feel about.
Yeah. I'm unsure.
I wasn't expecting that when, like, Monday Night Raw, I was like, oh, they're changing things up. That's interesting. And then NXT rolled around. I was like, oh, it's everywhere. But it kind of reminded me of the WCW Invasion shirts, where the referees had the white shirts with the red WCW logo. If that makes any sense.
It does. I remember that it does. I like it because, to me, it kind of blends the referee into the background more, as opposed to the white and black that makes him stand out.
On NXT, it didn't. On NXT, it was just like, it didn't blend at all to me.
Yeah, it definitely blended for me on Raw.
But as far as this match goes, I thought the match was fine. Nothing crazy. I feel like we know how these matches go. You had Tama Tonga show up to stop the referee from counting 3 at one point. Jacob Fatu showed up to take Roman Reigns out. Roman kicked out. Solo Sikoa ends up hitting Chad Patton with the Samoan Spike. And then Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso ran down. They brawl with the Bloodline. Sami hits a haluva kick. Roman hits a spear. No referee. And by the time Sean Bennett got there, Solo Sikoa was able to kick out. That's when Kevin Owens showed up. Hits a stunner, I think, on Roman Reigns. And he went for that package pile driver. Cody Rhodes runs down. Cody was literally sitting ringside. Why did he have to go back to the to the back after that, only to have to do a run-in like that.
Could have just stayed out there for the entire thing.
Yeah, I didn't understand that at all, but Solo went for a spike, and Roman Reigns ducked it, hit him with the spear, hits him with one more spear to pick up that victory. The Rock comes out afterwards, before Paul Heyman could put the Ulufala around Roman's neck. He takes the Ulufala, puts it on Roman's neck, and there was no swerve. I kept waiting for a swerve, and there was nothing. Nothing happened. So that was, I think, very surprising.
I agree with you. I think that it is very interesting the way that they went about this, but there has to be more to it, which we have a pin to.
After that, John Cena came out, hyped up the crowd, and he brought up his matches that he has left and said that he doesn't see himself becoming champion again, which he better. And he brought up how the only way that could possibly happen is if he won the Royal Rumble that he declared for the Royal Rumble. I thought it was a funny segment. It was a serious segment. And I thought it perfectly sets up his final run.
Yeah. I think the one thing that's really unique is he is so over right now. So over. Once he brought up... Huh?
I was going to say that they aired a video package for Gunther later on. Maybe we could possibly see the two of them go at it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's very possible. I think that John Cena has great potential to win the Royal Rumble. I think that I was a big fan of him saying, like, just tossing out the ideas out there. Oh, I could win the Royal Rumble. I would have to win the Money in the Bank briefcase. I would have to win the Elimination Chamber and this and that. I do think in 2025 we will see John Cena break Ric Flair's record. What do you think?
Yeah.
I think it will happen.
He's not winning the Rumble, I'll tell you that. I don't think so, at least.
I don't think that he'll win it either. I would like Randy Orton to actually defeat Cody Rhodes and then John Cena to defeat Randy Orton. I think that Randy Orton versus John Cena in this... Huh?
I don't need to see that.
I would love to. I think that John Cena versus Randy Orton with the title in mind would be a great way to have that entire breaking of the record.
I feel like we all got bored when that happened, like, over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not opposed to it, but I just don't need to see it again.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather see, like, John Cena versus Braun Breaker, John Cena versus Gunther, etc. I need to see John Cena either face or team with R-Truth. That, I think, needs to happen. I would really like to see John Cena versus Matt Cardona. I don't know if that's even a possibility.
Yeah. I think that we could see a lot of potential. I think we could see John Cena versus Dominic. I think there's going to be a lot. I think that John Cena is going to be very giving in 2025, where I think that John Cena is not going to be undefeated in 2025. I think he's going to have some wins and he's going to have some losses. I think it's going to be a really great year with John Cena.
A long shot, I think, would be really cool to see John Cena work like TNA, Slammiversary or something. Given that they're going to be at the UBS Arena, I don't think that's going to happen, but I think that would be something cool because obviously John Cena's been WWE for a majority of his career. I think it would be cool to get like that, go there, give them the rub or something like that.
Maybe.
Again, I don't see that happening at all. Like that, something like John Cena going to Japan or something like that would be cool too, but
yeah,
I don't see that ever happening.
No, it's going to be entertaining though. But talking about entertaining, Rhea Ripley picked up the victory over Liv Morgan to become the new champion. Once you saw those two riptides, you knew that it was done. I like how Liv Morgan went for her finish and Rhea Ripley just caught her between the ropes and was just like, not going to happen.
Yeah. But I thought this was a good match. I like that powerbomb on the commentary table from Rhea Ripley when I think Liv went for a Hurricane Rana. if I'm not mistaken. And then Liv Morgan, she ends up kicking out of the first Riptide. And Dominic Mysterio slid the championship in the ring while Raquel Rodriguez was distracting Rhea Ripley. Liv Morgan hit Oblivion onto that chair. And Rhea was able to kick out still. Then Liv Morgan goes and hits the Three Amigos. She hits a frog splash. Rhea Ripley kicks out of that. And then, like you said, she went for that Oblivion one more time, and Rhea Ripley held on to it and hit another Riptide and hit another Riptide. And then Dom got in the ring. Dom afterwards tried to go for a hug. He ends up getting a kick below the belt.
Not a good move.
And hit she hit a Riptide also. Then the most random thing happened. The Undertaker's music hits. He rolls out on a motorcycle, and then they do the Brothers of Destruction pose. I didn't understand that at all, but I think it's a cool moment for Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, it's a great moment for Rhea Ripley, but it definitely is very confusing.
Yeah.
You know, once the gong hit, it was just like, huh, this is okay. Obviously it's him giving the rub, but I don't know if she needs it.
You used the right word there, by the way.
Huh?
I said, I'm glad you used the right word there, by the way.
Yeah.
Because Rhea Ripley said it was something else.
Oh, I didn't. But I don't know. Like, it didn't seem like it was needed, though. Like, I don't know why it happened.
Part of me was expecting, like, Becky Lynch or something. And then it was The Undertaker.
I
was like, this makes no sense. I just thought, like,
why would you expect Becky?
Because very much so, it seems like Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan is done. So I was expecting, like, a new challenger to
okay, so you were expecting more so a challenger to appear.
Yeah. Not what Undertaker did.
I didn't expect any of it. I thought that it was just going to be a clean celebration and a clean walkout.
Well,
nothing more than that, but...
Speaking of unclean walkouts...
Yes.
Jey Uso picked up the victory over Drew McIntyre. WWE for weeks had advertised Travis... Well, maybe not for weeks. They advertised Travis Scott to be on Monday Night Raw performing, and then, like, didn't mention it again. So I was beginning to think Travis Scott wasn't going to be on Monday Night Raw. Then he shows up for Jey Uso's entrance. I thought it was a fun entrance overall. I don't know what was going through his head when he did what he did. I feel like, WWE probably wasn't aware that he was going to do what he did.
Yeah, it was definitely... I was definitely very unexpected to see that happen. That was just definitely something different.
On a TV PG show for them to do drugs and have The Rock drink and drive, which I feel like should be like an auto thing to tell people don't drink and drive. I thought that was very, very surprising.
I think that it was definitely a bold move to make that decision to happen that way. Maybe they weren't aware he was going to do that. I do think it's funny how Triple H was like, I'm glad that Jimmy just said no.
Jay. It's Jay.
Jay just said no and everything. The Rock with the alcohol, it's as if we've never seen Stone Cold Steve Austin drink a beer or drive before.
But still, like, that's like in 2024,
I don't know.
You should be telling people don't drink and drive. And you know that was real tequila.
I'm okay with it.
If you're doing a shot of tequila, you have to wait at least an hour before driving.
I'm okay with what they did.
That's life. What do you mean? If he didn't leave, then that's fine. But if he left, then... Or even still, I don't know. You shouldn't be operating a vehicle if you're drinking.
He drove 15 feet, and then once they stopped the segment, he got out of the car.
Regardless, you don't drink and drive. You don't drink and drive. That's just a rule.
Of course.
But this match kind of took me a bit to get into. Did you feel that way or no?
No. I was in it from the start. I was a fan of it all.
McIntyre went for a Claymore at one point, and Jay rocked him with a super kick. And then Drew ends up reversing an Uso splash. Later on, Jay hits Drew McIntyre with a spear. Drew hit his Claymore. And he went for another one a bit after that, and Jay ends up falling to his knees before Drew could like run even to hit the Claymore. And he set up for the Claymore again, and Jay ducked it, turned it into a crucifix pin, and picked up that victory. That was surprising to me because Drew McIntyre's been on this like tear against the Bloodline.
And I've never seen a reversal like that before, where, especially with the Glasgow kick into a crucifix, it's just weird to see, or like to see an airborne move such as the Glasgow kick,
it's
maybe
a Claymore.
Claymore kick, a drop kick, a big boot, go into a crucifix.
I'm sure we've seen it with Bryan Danielson.
I don't know. It definitely looked like, I don't know if they intended it to happen like that, but it was interesting.
Yeah, I like a good crucifix spin.
There you go.
Next
up, you had the most interesting reaction of the night. Hulk Hogan and Jimmy Hart came on out. Jimmy waving the American flag, and Hulk Hogan getting serenaded to a sea of boos.
Ironic because he was putting over booze.
What is your take on this?
Stop booking him. And if you feel like you must book Hulk Hogan for whatever reason, stop booking him to be a face. It was just for him to put over his beer. I understand that Hulk Hogan's American beer, or whatever it's called, is a sponsor now of WWE. Stuff like this is not necessary.
Maybe they shouldn't have accepted his sponsorship.
Yeah, I understand their history, their partnership between WWE and Hulk Hogan. A lot of people still have a bad taste in their mouth from Hulk Hogan, and it's been literally years. Even when he did the host of WrestleMania, people were booing him. They don't need Hulk Hogan in 2024.
No, I think that the entire acceptance of this sponsorship, there was no reason to accept the sponsorship just for the sake of taking money. It wasn't needed, and fans are not happy with Hogan. And I know, I thought it was interesting because I know a lot of people were against Hulk Hogan's political views. But
a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's because he supported Donald Trump." I don't think that was why at all. He said a lot of racist stuff and never actually apologized for it.
Yeah, but I'm also going to say that The Undertaker was very political too, and he was heavily cheered.
And then people were like, "Well, Undertaker wasn't on the stage with his MAGA hat, blah blah blah." I really don't think it has anything to do with Hulk Hogan and his politics.
No, Hulk Hogan's just a hateful person.
It has everything to do with the video that was leaked out and the apology that wasn't an apology.
Yeah. He's just a hateful person that is just not worth putting up there, you know?
So, stop doing it. Stop booking it.
Yeah.
Main event saw CM Punk pick up the victory over Seth Rollins. CM Punk, for I think the very first time in WWE, wore his Ring of Honor jacket. Which a lot of people were like, "Oh my god, he's wearing the same jacket he wore at AEW All In." Not the same jacket. Not at all the same jacket. So, I shouldn't say not at all. It's a very similar jacket. But the AEW All In jacket had a little Larry on it instead of the skull. But the crowd was quite split between Seth Rollins and CM Punk for this match. Like we've been saying, who could win this? It could go either way.
Mm-hmm.
They brawled outside of the ring here. I think there's a good shot. At one point, CM Punk throws Seth Rollins into the barricade, and all the Netflix people are sitting in the front row. I could swear to God that chick had no idea what she was doing there, and she looked like she was scared for her life at one point. Mm-hmm. I thought that was funny, but I feel like she might have been the person running the Netflix on WWE account. But CM Punk at one point went to the top rope and hit a swinging neck breaker off of it. I would have sworn that he was setting up for a Pepsi plunge there. And I was like on the edge of my seat. I was like, holy crap, he's about to hit the Pepsi plunge. And then it was the swinging neck breaker. Still a cool move, but CM Punk ends up focusing on Seth Rollins' neck throughout that match. Rollins hit a GTS at one point, and CM Punk rolled. He fell to the outside. I like that. I thought that was nice. And then Punk,
that was a cool spot.
Punk followed that up by hitting a stomp. I like that they both did that. Seth Rollins hit another GTS, which CM Punk kicked out of. And when he went for a stomp, CM Punk rolled out of the way. And outside the ring, Seth Rollins hit a pedigree on the commentary table. And he ends up maybe hurting his knee there. They get back into the ring. CM Punk gets hit with a buckle bomb. He gets hit with another stomp. CM Punk gets his foot on the rope. And then Seth Rollins does the, superplex Falcon Arrow spot. Instead of hitting the Falcon Arrow, CM Punk countered and hit the GTS. Seth Rollins collapses onto CM Punk's shoulders. And he picks him up, hits another GTS, gets the victory there. That was very well done. It's a spot that CM Punk and Jon Moxley did. I think this one looked very much more smoother, I should have just said.
I saw a lot of people putting that out there. Oh, it's been done before, this and that.
It's still, I think, a great spot.
So for me, I don't recall that Moxley's spot. And I was a big fan of this spot. I thought it was really good. I thought that it was nice because it showed how exhausted and how tired and fatigued these men were from competing and just beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah,
And
I'm fine.
It was entertaining.
I'm 100% fine that they repeated that spot because I think it's a really good spot.
Yeah, and it was so entertaining.
So that is Monday Night Raw. Moving over to NXT, New Year's Evil that took place at the Shrine Auditorium, I believe. That building is super old. Held, I want to say Grammy Awards and a bunch of other things. And now NXT. But Julia picked up the victory over Roxanne Perez to become the new NXT Women's Champion. I thought this was a very good match. Much like CM Punk and Seth Rollins, I really could not pick who I thought would win this.
I figured that Julia was going to win.
But there were definitely moments here where I was like, well, maybe she's not going to end up winning.
I don't know. The entire time, I thought Julia. I think that Roxanne Perez had the title for a long time already, and it was time for a new champion. And Julia, to me, made more sense to come out as the winner. This was more predictable to me compared to CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. But I think this was a great match.
I thought maybe Julia would win, and then in the main event we would see Trick Williams retain. But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Julia, at one point, they were both down outside, and Cora Jade came out, and she threw Roxanne Perez back into the ring. Julia was still able to get to the 10 count. And then the referee ends up tossing Cora Jade from ringside, and I thought that would come into play. I feel like it didn't. Cora Jade really didn't. All she did was get Roxanne Perez back into the ring. I guess it's a creative way to include A, Cora Jade, and B, do that 10 count spot that I really wish they would stop doing. That at least makes it like Roxanne Perez didn't get into the ring on her own. She had help to do that. Now Julia has to fight even more to get back in the ring or whatever, because she didn't have help to do that. But the match went, I think maybe it was like 3 more moves. She hit the G trigger. It's got a different name now, Arrivederci. Then she hit another Northern Lights bomb to win the championship. So after that, you had Stephanie Vicor pick up the victory over Cora Jade, Lola Vice, and Kalani Jordan to become number 1 contender. Just not number 1 contender to the title I thought it was going to be.
I think that this match was very solid. I think that all 4 of these competitors could have come out as the winner. I think that it was very interesting that they started off with 3 women's matches. We're only on the second one right now, but I think that this entire roster, the women roster on NXT, is stacked.
Yeah. And this match was chaotic a bit, but not a bad chaotic. But I think, for me, the only person here who made sense to win was Stephanie Vicor. And I was fully thinking we were going to be seeing Stephanie Vicor versus Julia. So, which I'll put a pin in for now, but we had Chemical X pick up the victory. I assume that's going to be their name. Pick up the victory over Fatal Influence. Shotzi, Tatum Paxley, and Gigi Dolan, I think, worked extremely well as a team together. I think there could have been more control by the referee during this at times, but it opened up to have fun spots take place. Shotzi ends up getting the victory after that senton on Fallon Henley. Cut to backstage later on. Ava spoke to Fallon and Stephanie Vicor about being number 1 contender. I was like, in what world was that match for the North American Championship? I don't know if they must have announced that, and I just wasn't paying attention. But like last week, both of us thought it was going to be for the Women's Championship, no?
Yeah, I thought I saw it somewhere.
But Shotzi came into the locker room. She brought up how she literally just beat Fallon Henley. And she gets a match set up for next week where we'll see Shotzi Blackheart versus Stephanie Vicor. Again, I guess to see who will be number 1 contender. I feel like if Stephanie Vicor won that match, she should just be like solid. What word am I looking to say? Not solidified. But she should be solidified as the number 1 contender.
Sounds like that's the word you were looking for.
No, I think I was going to say solidly. Is solidly a word? I don't know.
No, I think that solidify was the word that you were
No,
looking
it wasn't, because I had to change my sentence for it.
Stick to it.
I had to change my sentence. But, does that make sense? Like, why should we have to see that now?
Yeah, I agree. I think that...
I'm not against it. I'm looking forward to seeing Shotzi Blackheart versus Stephanie Vicor, but I just don't get it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Shotzi coming out as the winner of this matchup was very good too, because she just came in, just returned. I think that it puts her in a nice position too.
Keep in mind, Gigi Dolan, I feel like also just returned.
I feel like Gigi's been back longer already.
I don't know.
Nah.
After that, we had Lexis King pick up the victory over Charlie Dempsey to win the Heritage Cup. For the most part of this match, it was pretty straightforward wrestling from Lexis King. And I guess Charlie Dempsey, too. At one point, Lexis King took No Quarter Catch Crew out with a dive to the outside. Towards the end, though, accidentally low-blowed Charlie Dempsey on a leapfrog spot. And it led to Lexis King winning that match. No brass knucks, no William Regal. I was shocked at that. It was straightforward babyface.
I was surprised too. I didn't... Huh?
It was straightforward babyface.
Yeah, I was not expecting that at all. I did not think that was going to happen. I think that was probably one of the most surprising things of the night.
And then the main event... We saw Obafemi pick up the victory over Trick Williams and Eddie Thorpe to become the new NXT champion. Earlier in the night, Obafemi attacked Eddie Thorpe. And Ava thought that Eddie was making it up. And Obafemi claimed it. He was like, no, Eddie's not making it up. I took him out. So it started as a one-on-one where it was Eddie Thorpe not there. It was Obafemi and Trick Williams going at it. And they had a pretty good match with just the two of them. And then they showed Eddie Thorpe backstage, very disheveled, walking, doing everything he can to get to the ring with a steel chair. And it seemed at one point like Obafemi was about to win. Eddie Thorpe pulled the referee out at the last second. And then Obafemi took Eddie Thorpe out of the match. While he was running to the corner, Trick Williams hits Obafemi with a trick shot. and he kicked out, and Trick went for another one, only to get Obafemi to throw a chair into him from Eddie Thorpe.
This entire matchup was eventful. I think that this entire thing was eventful because you just didn't know who was going to win at all. You had no clue. Could have been Oba, could have been Trick, could have even been Eddie, but
I thought given that Julia won that championship, where there was no way we were seeing Trick Williams lose. And then after this match, you have Julia come out, celebrate a new era of NXT. I should have seen it coming.
I told you before, Julia and Oba were going to win.
Well, I just didn't think it was going to happen.
Yeah. I thought it was really good that Julia and Oba were out on the stage together with both of them having Titantrons supporting them as the new champions with the fireworks display going off. I thought that it was really a solid way to end their wrestling matches wise, because that was not the absolute end of NXT, because on Monday Night Raw, as The Rock was pulling away, he did mention that he was going to be at NXT, and he came on out the final boss.
Well, actually, before that, backstage,
he was backstage.
Ethan Page was complaining to Ava about not being on NXT, and The Rock interrupted him. They exchanged words, and then he said, "See you on the main roster one day." And then Ava brought up to The Rock, like, how the NXT crowd is different, and so many things. Ethan Page, like you said, called him the final boss here.
Mm-hmm.
He came out to the Final Boss graphics, the Final Boss theme song, something he did not do on Monday Night Raw. And he brought up Cody Rhodes and how last year everybody cried about The Rock being mean with Cody Rhodes, taking his spot, etc. And how last night he wanted to give Cody his flowers, and people complained about that. How dare you be nice? He basically told all the IWC marks, like, I mean, you said it also, to shut up.
Yeah.
He like,
but that's the thing. I like it. I didn't understand it when it happened. Right? I didn't understand when it happened. But once this happened on NXT, I was like,
I still don't know what happened, though. He said, he brought up how he asked a few weeks ago, we're going to be at the Intuit Dome. I might as well be at NXT. Can I be at NXT? I didn't know what I was going to say a few weeks ago when I asked to be here. I still don't know what I'm here to say. And he mentioned how Monday Night Raw had all the celebrities you can see. It's an event you had to be there for, but NXT is where you want to go. And he put over the NXT locker room and said that it all depends on how the fans react to them as to where their career goes. Most of this, to me, was pointless. The one major line, though, I think The Rock said was, "I'm always 20 steps ahead."
Mm-hmm.
What was he doing at NXT? What was he doing at Monday Night Raw? We have no idea. That's 20
We're gonna
steps
find
ahead.
out,
we have
though.
to wait for those 18 other steps.
I know. That's the thing. I am looking forward to finding out what is the game plan.
That's funny.
What is in the mind. I think that
was not a pun.
I needed The Rock to kind of settle me down and be like, just let me take you for the ride. So I'm letting The Rock drive wherever we're supposed to be headed.
Was that not a pun, though?
No.
The Game Plan, great movie starring Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, definitely no.
So that is NXT. Moving over to SmackDown. It opened up with Paul Heyman announcing Roman Reigns as the Tribal Chief. And then he called Cody Rhodes out. And on behalf of Roman Reigns, he said that now that he's won the Ulafala back, Roman wants his championship back, and he's declaring for the Royal Rumble. Before Cody could say anything, Kevin Owens interrupted, spoke about him shaking hands with The Rock and Paul Heyman, and Cody ran into the crowd to brawl with Kevin Owens, From behind, Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga showed up to back Paul Heyman into a corner. Jimmy Uso ran down to fight with them. Eventually, Fatu took him out. Cody Rhodes came back and took Fatu out. Security backed the Bloodline up backstage. One security guard even squaring up against Jacob Fatu almost. LA Knight showed up and shoved him out of the building, which I thought was funny. And he said he has the title to win, which I'll put a pin in. You had Chelsea Green pick up the victory over Mia Yim to retain the U.S. Championship. Piper Niven dressed as that fancy Secret Service agent, I think, was awesome. I popped for that. And I enjoyed this match. Piper got involved behind the referee's back. I liked that elevated downward spiral that Chelsea Green did. But later on, Piper again tried to get involved. Mia Yim took her out. The referee saw that happen and didn't do anything. But Mia Yim went to the top rope, hit a diving crossbody. Chelsea Green reversed it, held on, and held on to the trunks to pin Mia Yim. Mia went to attack Chelsea Green afterwards. Piper put her down. I thought that was a good segment. Los Garza, Pretty Deadly, Motor City Machine Guns all argue with one another. A-Town Down Under interrupted, threatened to go to Monday Night Raw, which I thought was funny. And then Nick Aldis set up Los Garza versus Pretty Deadly, and then Motor City Machine Guns versus A-Town Down Under. WWE on social media posted a video of Grayson Waller making fun of Macaulay Culkin from Monday Night Raw, and I thought that was really funny. Maybe we could see a spot at WrestleMania with the maybe the three of them, maybe the Culkin brothers, I don't know. But Los Garza picked up the victory over Pretty Deadly. I'm very happy to see Los Garza being used more and more. I thought that neck breaker from Elton Prince to the outside to Humberto was interesting, but he cheated behind the referee's back. Elektra Lopez distracted the referee, and then Santos Escobar crotched him off the top rope. And it led to Los Garza picking up the victory there. I would have preferred for there not to be outside interference in back-to-back matches there. But backstage, DIY told Pretty Deadly that they couldn't help them in their match, and they're still basically stringing them along for a title match. And later on, you had Motor City Machine Guns pick up the victory over A-Town Down Under. It's about time that A-Town Down Under has a new theme song. It's basically Austin Theory's theme song still, but Under is mixed in as well. I'm glad that they didn't split them up because I think they worked very well as a tag team. They controlled a lot of this match. Motor City Machine Guns took over, and Austin Theory was able to change that with a blind tag. A few blind tag spots happened in this match from both teams. And Motor City Machine Guns ended up hitting Skull and Bones to pick up that victory to win. And now next week, even though it wasn't a tournament, you're going to have Motor City Machine Guns take on Los Garza. Rewinding, fast forwarding, you had Tiffany Stratton come out, which before this, Candice LeRae had told Nia Jax that Tiffany Stratton was heading to the ring. And Nia Jax was like, let me go see for myself. And Byron Saxton asked Tiffany Stratton about Nia Jax bullying her. And Stratton said that Nia didn't bully her. She befriended Nia Jax. She got her to trust her. And she let Nia Jax think that she was dumb. She kind of sounded heelish during this. Fans were still cheering her. But Nia Jax came out and threatened Tiffany Stratton. She said that she made Tiffany Stratton and said either give her the title or she's taking it. And then Bayley came out and said that she knows Nia Jax is stupid because Tiffany Stratton outsmarted Nia Jax. And she said that she should be the one taking the title from Tiffany Stratton, given that Tiffany Stratton is the reason why she's no longer champion. And she lost it to Nia Jax because of her. The tag team champion showed up, and Naomi said that she had Nia Jax beat last week. Tiffany Stratton was the one that cost it, so she should be next in line. And then Nia Jax attacked them. Bayley attacked Nia Jax. Everyone fought Nia Jax. Tiffany Stratton hit the prettiest moonsault ever onto all three of them. And then Nick Aldis set up a fatal 4-way match for a number one contender spot, which I thought was about to be next week, and he set it up for right there on SmackDown, which Bayley won. She beat Bianca Belair, Nia Jax, Naomi. I don't like the tag team champions being in this spot. It's literally one of the biggest reasons that we think Sasha Banks and Naomi left when they did. I would like for there to be tag team title feuds with the champions involved. You have some stuff in NXT right now, but it's not involving directly with Bianca Belair and Naomi. But a lot of this match was Nia Jax 1-on-3. I did like the one-on-one stuff that we got with Bayley and Naomi. That need to break up the pin from Nia Jax to Bianca Belair from Bayley, I thought was very nice. The Tower of Doom spot was, I enjoyed that. You had Nia Jax. Bayley was on Nia Jax in a fireman's carry position on the middle rope. And the tag team champions powerbomb Nia Jax to trigger a Samoan drop to Bayley. The one-on-one stuff with Bayley and Bianca Belair I thought was good. And then the three of them tried to pin Nia Jax. Candice LeRae showed up to help Nia. And before the champions could fight one another, they went out and dove to the outside of the ring. Candice LeRae ended up holding Bianca Belair's ponytail. And that caused Bianca Belair to accidentally hit Naomi. Outside the ring, Bianca Belair took out Nia Jax over the commentary table. And Bayley was able to hit the Rose Plant to pick up that victory and secure that number one contender spot. Earlier in the night, you had LA Knight pick up the victory over Shinsuke Nakamura via disqualification. So Shinsuke Nakamura retains that U.S. championship. I think this might be the first time 2 U.S. championships were on the line in the same show. I'm not 100% sure. But this match was pretty even. Nakamura had the turnbuckle exposed again, and they played around with that spot. He hit the Kinshasa, and LA Knight got his foot on the rope, so he set up LA Knight in the corner against that exposed turnbuckle, and he ran towards him. LA Knight ends up moving. He went knee first into the exposed turnbuckle. That left both of them down. And then the Bloodline showed up and attacked LA Knight. Cody Rhodes and Jimmy Uso ran down to fight the Bloodline off. And Cody demanded Nick Aldis set up a match, which he made the main event. But I think all that was a good way to keep the title on Nakamura, to keep LA Knight without a loss there. So I enjoyed that. But the main event, you could maybe assume that this was going to be Cody and Jimmy picking up the victory. But the Bloodline won. Like last week, I don't think I needed this match. But Cody Rhodes ended up brawling with Kevin Owens to the back, leaving Jimmy alone. Jimmy was doing fine on his own, but Jacob Fatu took over. And he wins the match. I don't see that as a strong victory for him because Cody Rhodes left Jimmy by himself. Granted, Tama Tonga wasn't really involved in that outcome there, but I didn't need that match. And then Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens brawled back outside to the ringside area. Cody ends up spearing Kevin Owens off a production case through some tables in that crowd to end SmackDown. I understand everything that they did there. I just don't think that match was necessary. I think everything that happened with LA Knight earlier was fine. I feel like you could have gotten to that brawl with Cody and Kevin Owens another way. But that's SmackDown. Going to take a quick little break right now, and I'll be right back here on Markin Out.
Hey, this is Danielle Fishel. You're listening to Markin Out.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Markin Out, episode 727. No more AEW Rampage. So, kicking off with AEW Collision, Daniel Garcia picked up the victory over Mark Briscoe to retain the championship. I don't remember if there was any setup for this match. I really don't think there was. I don't think this match was needed. They just did it in the Continental Classic. But I will say, that even though they went outside the ring, Mark Briscoe knocked Daniel Garcia off the top rope. There was reason to go out there. And that's all I ask for. When you go outside the ring, have a reason why you're out there. And then later on, when they did it again, Daniel Garcia held on to Mark Briscoe and suplexed him out as a reversal. More reason. I just wish this match didn't end with a jackknife pin again. You had Jeff Jarrett pick up the victory over Aaron Solo. This does not scream AEW Championship contender at all. I hated that Jeff Jarrett's first stroke didn't put Aaron Solo down right away. Solo has never won a singles match on AEW television. And he's going to need 2 finishers from Jeff Jarrett to put him away. You had Private Party pick up the victory over Action Andretti and Lio Rush to retain the championships. It's nice to finally get a title match with Private Party again. I just wish there was build to this match. Better build, I should say. It seemed like it was kind of like a thrown together championship match. I think the champions looked very weak in this match. Action Andretti and Lio Rush controlled a majority of this match. And I thought they did a very good job at keeping Cassidy on their side of the ring. But in the end, they tried to cheat, and Top Flight prevented that, and Private Party got the victory there. You had Toni Storm pick up the victory over Deonna Purrazzo. I would have enjoyed this match more without Toni Storm's new character. I get Toni Storm winning, but Deonna Purrazzo has literally no meaningful victories in AEW. If you want to build her up as a dangerous character and then be someone who can be looked at as a contender, you need to give her meaningful victories against people like Toni Storm. Obviously, Toni Storm's not losing right now, but she's lost to Hikaru Shida multiple times. She's lost to Anna Jay recently, Thunder Rosa, Willow Nightingale. But she has a victory over Shazza McKenzie, so that's great for Deonna Purrazzo. A match like this, to me, was just lose-lose. Either way, no matter who won, no matter who lost. Taya Valkyrie got involved. Toni Storm able to take her out and then reverse the move into an inside cradle to pick up the victory. Very similar with Daniel Garcia, just a different pin. After that, Brian Cage picked up the victory over Dante Martin, Commander, and Black Taurus in a $100,000 high-speed collision match. Dante Martin has been involved with the tag team title scene. He was just in that segment prior with Private Party. So I think it's great to have him in a singles match here that had absolutely nothing to do with that feud. Lio Rush and Action Andretti actually came out during this match and attacked Dante Martin, so at least they had that. I did not get Brian Cage making them leave, though. What power does he have over them? And why not just let them take out Dante Martin? And I don't get why Dante Martin was the one to eat the pin in this match. But this was another match. I have absolutely no clue why it took place. Why was $100,000 randomly on the line? And not to cut forward, it wasn't even mentioned on Dynamite this week when Brian Cage appeared, if I remember correctly. Main event saw Rated FTR pick up the victory over the Learning Tree. Much like their match on Dynamite last week, the match, it was fine, but it was nothing memorable. I liked the Powerplex, including the elbow drop from Edge as well. They tried to do a 3-man shatter machine to Big Bill, but he got out of it. I expected to see one later on, but FTR hit a normal shatter machine, and Edge was able to spear Chris Jericho to get that victory. Then the Death Riders kidnapped Rock and Roll Express. The Outrunners tried to help, but the Death Riders took them out. Before that happened, Ricky Morton told Jon Moxley that he doesn't have the balls to do anything. And then the Death Riders left. So that makes the Death Riders continuously look weak. They always seem to flee. And come to think about it, I don't think they mentioned anything about the Rock and Roll Express being kidnapped on Dynamite either. I don't get it. On Dynamite, you had Will Ospreay kick off the show, picking up the victory over Buddy Matthews. Obviously, I wish Buddy Matthews won this, but I thought this was a good match. It started out pretty even. They had a lot of good reversals. When they went to the outside, like I mentioned before, it made sense. That's all I want. I keep saying that. That's all I want. If you're going to the outside, just have it make sense. I do wish that they went outside less in this match. But outside of that and that coast to coast from Will Ospreay that took too long, I thought this was a very good match to open up Dynamite with. By the way, no Pointer Sisters this week. Maybe it was just a joke. I have no idea. No intro video this week. Will Ospreay afterwards put Buddy Matthews over, but he also basically said that he and Brody King are too good to have a leader. And if he ever needs anything, he's there. And then they shook hands. They might have hugged even. To me, Will Ospreay should have gotten knocked out for talking about Malachi Black like that. The internet says Malachi Black is done with AEW and it's unlikely to see Malachi Black on AEW television ever again. I didn't realize that was a thing. But Buddy Matthews, I think, is so much better than Will Ospreay to me. And I don't need to see Will Ospreay in matches where he's picking up victories like that. After that, Private Party came out. They were going to celebrate because they had one successful title defense last week. And they got interrupted by the Hurt Business. MVP toasted them. And then Bobby Lashley in his toast also said, here's to the Hurt Business taking the titles from you. Super dud ending to that segment. It led right into Bobby Lashley facing Mark Briscoe, picking up the obvious victory there. Briscoe cheated during this match, but the referee, he was under the ring. The referee couldn't see it, and I think that was a very creative way to have Mark Briscoe cheat. I mean, did he need to cheat? Not really. But I thought it was very well done. I thought it was hilarious seeing MVP get very animated over that, because obviously MVP saw it. The referee just couldn't see it. But Mark Briscoe gave Bobby Lashley a fight that I was not expecting Bobby Lashley to have to put up with. And I feel like kind of makes Bobby Lashley look weak there. But the Hurt Business jumped Mark Briscoe afterwards. Private Party came out, backed them up with chairs, and the Hurt Business left. I feel like the Hurt Business could have taken Private Party even with the chairs. Powerhouse Hobbs, after that, won the Casino Gauntlet match. I don't know if they call it a Battle Royal there. Jay White and Hangman started it, which are like the last two people I'd want to see start a match against each other. And then, certainly not happy to see this, Wheeler Yuta entered the match. Why do I need to see Wheeler Yuta fight for a chance to face Jon Moxley? And then when he got in the ring, Jay White almost instantly hits him with that finisher of his. Hangman broke up the pin. In a perfect world, that would have been the end of the match where Jay would have just picked up that victory right then and there. After that, they played Swerve's theme. Hangman's looking like incredibly like bewildered, flustered even. And then it quickly cuts off and goes into Ricochet's theme song. I thought that was goofy. He got in the ring and immediately started doing all the classic Ricochet stuff. I thought we were going to see him be sadistic and violent like last week. And that for this entire match was not the case. Everything Ricochet did last week, it was just thrown away with this match. He looked like an absolute nobody. I thought that was so bad. I thought that was terrible to have this. I was excited for that brand new character of Ricochet last week. And then instantly with a battle royal, it made no sense to me. Adam Cole was out after that, hit a really slow Panama Sunrise. And then Daniel Garcia came out. Powerhouse Hobbs had a similar reaction for his entrance to Daniel Garcia. Nobody really cared, it seemed. Roderick Strong entered. Wheeler Yuta ends up hitting a low blow, and for some reason, in order for him to hit that low blow, the referee needed to be distracted. I did not understand that at all. Lance Archer entered the match, Kyle O'Reilly, Jeff Jarrett came out, but Wheeler Yuta took him out of action. And then obviously Powerhouse got that victory there. To me, an unexpected victory, but he then goes on to face Jon Moxley next week for the AEW Championship. Just a match that Powerhouse can lose unless they have him pull off like a super upset and have him actually win the match. I'm all for Powerhouse Hobbs taking that title from Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley has been such a boring champion. It would be a breath of fresh air having Powerhouse Hobbs be the AEW champion. After that, you had Jeff Jarrett interrupted. He was going to cut a promo. He came back out. He was done with Wheeler Yuta. He was interrupted by MJF. And MJF said that Jeff Jarrett's contract is just for one more year. And MJF can help him become the AEW champion. All he wants in return is to be the first challenger if Jeff Jarrett wins the championship. Jeff Jarrett turned him down. That sounded like an exciting storyline to me. I really would not mind seeing Jeff Jarrett win the AEW championship either. Not at all. After that, Edge came out. Another AEW championship segment. 3 in a row is ridiculous. That match and then the 2 promos, I don't understand that at all. The Death Riders interrupted. FTR ended up attacking them before they could make it to the ring. And then the Death Riders took all 3 of them out. And Powerhouse came out, and right before the Death Riders, Jon Moxley was able to put the bag over Edge's head. They backed away. Again, classic Death Riders move. They backed off. 5 of them backed off against one person. I don't get it. How does that make them look strong? Main event saw Chris Statlander pick up the victory over Toni Storm and Willow Nightingale to become the number 1 entrant for the Women's Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal for next week's episode. I think there's absolutely no reason why they couldn't have had 2 meaningful women's matches on Dynamite this week. That Edge segment, that did not have to happen on Dynamite. And like I said the other week, that the whole feud between Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale not being so far off from when it took place, that match, I don't think they should have been involved with one another at all. I enjoyed bits and pieces of this match. I just can't get behind that Toni Storm character. I think it was obvious that she was going to lose this match. I have to assume she's going to be the one winning that gauntlet. There's no other option for that gauntlet match next week than Toni Storm to me. To get a match in Australia, some people are hoping for Timeless Toni Storm to show up. People are calling for 3 faces of Toni Storm, much like Mick Foley in the Royal Rumble. I hope that doesn't happen. Just get a straightforward victory. And then afterwards, to close Dynamite, you had Kenny Omega come out. New theme song that debuted at Wrestle Dynasty, which I don't even have to talk about. AEW didn't mention it at all. They had a co-promoted pay-per-view that they didn't even mention. I don't know how you do that. But Kenny, his new theme song, it was made from a Final Fantasy guy. Never played the games, never seen anything of it. I thought the theme song sucks. It doesn't have a pro wrestling vibe to it. For me, he spoke about having the diverticulitis, and people were like deathly silent during this, as if he was going to announce that he's retiring. Maybe they don't even know that he wrestled a match for New Japan a few days ago. It seemed like a lot of people might not have known that. But he's back. He was interrupted by Don Callis. Kenny Omega ran right up the ramp and attacked Don Callis. You had Lance Archer and Brian Cage come out to fight Kenny Omega. Kyle Fletcher showed up. And then Will Ospreay saved Kenny Omega. They played Kenny's music as Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega stared at one another. Commentary immediately interrupts this moment that should just go off the air. end Dynamite like that. That's a big moment. Commentary immediately interrupts. We have this match. We have this match. We have this match next week. Breaking news. We have Kenny Omega versus Brian Cage. They don't let anything settle in AEW. Let a big moment be a big moment. And at that point, I think the fans thought they might have been off air. You had like 3 people chanting Kenny. I thought that was a terrible ending to Dynamite. It started off fantastic. But when you close, you have Kenny Omega, you have Will Ospreay face to face. This match, this match, this match, this match. That's a huge dud ending. I'm glad Kenny Omega is back. I don't care about him versus Brian Cage. I don't. That's not main event to me. Why is Kenny Omega returning to be beat down by mid-carders? That makes 0 sense to me. But that's AEW Dynamite. Hey, Brandon. Got any shout-outs?
I'm Louis Anderson, and survey says Brandon shout-outs.
The first shout-out goes to Shrinking on Apple TV Plus. Have you heard about this show? I feel like you must have.
I've heard the name, but I forgot why.
So, it stars Jason Segel, Harrison Ford, Jessica Williams, Krista Miller, Luke Tenney, Lukita Maxwell. And I only got to see this, by the way, because Apple TV Plus was free over the weekend. Mm-hmm. So I binge watched these 2 seasons. Michael Urie and Todd McGinley are also on the show. But Jason Segel, Jessica Williams, and Harrison Ford they're all therapists. And Jason Segel's character struggles after his wife dies and I guess begins to be more blunt when it comes to his patients and does a different way of therapy. Mm-hmm. And the show was created by Jason with Brett Goldstein, with Bill Lawrence. Lawrence created Scrubs. So it's cool to see Krista Miller as a regular on this series. You have Neil Flynn as a reoccurring character. Many famous other people are on this show as reoccurring people. Mm-hmm. So it's cool to see them two on a show together. I think they're in maybe one scene together. There's also a How I Met Your Mother reunion in season 2. But it's a comedy drama. And if you have Apple TV Plus, if you have a free trial for it, I would 100% recommend this show. I thought it was very well done. The second season just ended, so you can binge watch both seasons. There's a third season, so I hope I'll be able to see it when it comes out. I feel like maybe not, because I don't have Apple TV Plus. It would be nice if they did these like free gimmicks every single year.
That would be good.
My next shout out goes to Jerry Springer Fights Camera Action, which is a 2-part documentary about the Jerry Springer Show. It's on Netflix. Very wild to hear the stories behind the show. And a big thing that they mentioned in this was the ratings and how important it was for, I guess, for them to do the crazy things to get the higher ratings. And obviously, if it wasn't for this show, the Attitude Era would not look like the Attitude Era. Mm-hmm. I believe Vince Russo even like directly credits the Jerry Springer Show for the Attitude Era. And they spoke about how eventually this show beat Oprah in the ratings, despite Oprah going out on TV and trashing them and saying this TV show is filth or whatever. Jerry Springer skyrocketed to the top because of that show. And because of what they did to get there. Mm-hmm. And the first part, I think, is definitely a much better watch than the second part. The second part covers how a guest on the show ended up killing on the night that his episode aired. Somebody who was also on the episode. I would say definitely check it out, though. I mean, we all grew up with Jerry Springer. Mm-hmm. Maybe we shouldn't have been watching it, but we did.
Maybe not. I mean, the stuff that they were doing on that TV show, we probably shouldn't have been watching, but everybody did tune in. I mean...
And then some of it happened on Monday Night Raw.
It was entertaining.
Yeah, and I think this documentary would have been better if Jerry Springer was obviously alive to be part of it. If he was, I don't know if they would have made something like this. So I would say check it out. If you're watching Monday Night Raw on Netflix, you have this as well. And then my last shout out is an anti-shout out. I'm going to give it to Marvel's What If, because the third season dropped during Christmas time. And like season 2, I was very disappointed with it. And I think the episode that I enjoyed the most was one of the most hated episodes that people trashed from this season.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they could have used other characters to entertain me in this show. I still feel like they should have had Miss Marvel on an episode. They should have had She-Hulk. That would have been entertaining to me.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert, they don't. I also thought, spoiler alert here, I thought it was cool that they included Storm. Because that's an X-Men character coming into the MCU. I thought it was interesting to see Howard the Duck and Darcy have a kid together. And I like that from last season, the character that they introduced, Kahari, had a bigger role this season. I would still like to see that character translate into the live action stuff. And if they're going to have Howard the Duck and Darcy be a couple in the live action MCU and have a kid, I think that's fine also. But, and this is the last season, so I don't have to put up with watching the show anymore. But
I don't know. I just finished up with Squid Games 2, the second season. I know that's definitely nothing that you would ever watch.
Yeah, I don't know it. I'm a Monday Night Raw guy.
Yeah, Squid Games. I was actually a big fan of the new season, and I ended up going back to rewatch most of, some of skipped through just to see the cool parts. Alice in Borderland, which I'm a big fan of. But yeah, very cool.
So those are my shout outs. Now it's time for our
Mark Out Moment of the Week.
That is right, our Mark Out Moment of the Week. Something that we did not mention during Monday Night Raw, they aired another vignette. And this time it is now confirmed that his name is Penta, which I'm very happy about. And backstage, Chad Gable asked Adam Pearce for a match against any luchador. And Adam Pearce is like, I know the best luchador in the world. Next week, you'll have that match. So we can only assume that Penta will be facing Chad Gable next week. I'm very happy about that.
I am very much so looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a lot of entertainment when we see this take place.
Well, now the big question is who will team up with Rey Mysterio?
Who knows?
Because that was something, it almost seemed like they were going to like hint at Penta teaming with Rey, and I really didn't want to see that.
I thought it was funny. Somebody tweeted out saying that it would be genius if they had the persons come out to face
R-Truth.
R-Truth. Yeah, being Gable being R-Truth under a mask, and then have it being Penta.
It's very possible we could see the return of El Gran Gordo.
What about Kalisto?
I don't think so. That wouldn't be funny or anything.
Oh, no, teaming with Rey.
Oh, I also don't see that happening either.
Me neither.
But something else I don't see happening.
I'm still not going to be satisfied until we get Rey Mysterio versus Kalisto at WrestleMania. We deserve it.
But maybe Big E is a possibility.
I wouldn't put Big E in that spot.
I mean, it would make so much sense, but I also don't see that happening. It would just make a lot of sense.
Uh-huh.
New Day is New Day because of what happened with Big E.
True. I marked out for, I'm just going to say in general, Monday Night Raw. There was a different type of energy with Monday Night Raw being the first event on NXT on Netflix.
The first Monday Night Raw for standard regulation wrestling matches using the NXT mat.
Yes. It was definitely it was just the entire day was just a mark out because very excited, very just marking out about Monday Night Raw. And then once it was Monday Night Raw time, was just glued to it the entire time, getting to see everybody, getting to see solid matches, title changes, The Rock. Everything about it was just so entertaining.
You had a ton of celebrities in the crowd. You had Ashton Kutcher sitting there. You had Gabriel Iglesias, who did a segment later on with New Day as well. Wale was there. Michael Che, Seth Green.
Culkin.
One of the biggest pops of the night on Monday Night Raw was Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah,
his brother Kieran was there too. They showed him zero love, just won a Golden Globe.
Yeah.
The interaction between him and CM Punk I thought was hilarious. They showed it online, and then CM Punk posted, they both like Pepsi. If you know, you know. That's absolutely hilarious. You had O'Shea Jackson Jr. there, Danielle Fishel, and Will Friedle. Friedle got zero name recognition either.
Which, I mean, Topanga and Eric Matthews should have definitely been way over.
Yeah, I mean, people pop for them, definitely. But
I even feel like New Day didn't really acknowledge Eric Matthews all that much either.
What do you mean?
It seemed like
they were both off-air backstage segment. They were part of a segment with New Day. And
it seemed like they were more focused on Topanga than Eric Matthews.
I mean, he closed the segment. He
I
closed the
don't
segment, and they both said New Day sucks. But and I think it's cool to see them involved. Obviously, you know, Danielle Fishel's a huge wrestling fan. I think she's been to PWG and stuff like that. And obviously AEW. But Will Friedle, Danielle Fishel have also been part of Boy Meets World episodes where they've been involved with wrestling.
Yeah.
With Danielle Fishel, you've had Big Van Vader. With Will Friedle, you've had Vader. You've had, in later seasons, Mankind. So I think that's pretty cool. You had Bill Simmons, biggest heel of the night, maybe, hold up a Celtics logo. I thought that was pretty funny. And then Vanessa Hudgens, she got a big pop there. You had Tiffany Haddish, Stephen Amell. Not even a nameplate for Stephen Amell. They mentioned him by name. Watch Heels on Netflix. That's what they should have been saying. They promoted Tick Tick Boom for Vanessa Hudgens, a movie that came out years ago at this point.
I mean, what is she doing now?
I don't know. I think she just had a kid, so I don't know what she's doing now.
Good for her.
I think O'Shea Jackson has a
movie.
Yeah, on Netflix,
Den
right?
of Thieves. Yeah, Den of Thieves.
Did they
2.
mention that?
I don't think so, but I also don't think it's on Netflix yet.
No, I think it's coming out soon.
Yeah, I still want to see. I saw the trailer of that second one. Oh, I went to go see Gladiator 2. And I marked out for that. Gladiator 2 was incredible.
Nathan Jones in that?
No, not to my. I don't think.
Also, when did you see Gladiator 2? Is that's still in theaters?
Yeah, I saw it with my dad on Saturday.
What?
The reason I brought that up was because during the previews they showed a commercial for Den of Thieves 2, and it made me really want to see Den of Thieves 1. So yeah, with O'Shea Jackson, I don't think I've ever seen any movies that he's been in. Actually, no. I saw the NWA movie.
Oh, you didn't see Cocaine Bear?
No.
That was a good movie.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It was. That very much so, like, as out there as that movie was, I thought that was a very good movie.
Yeah, I bet.
But yeah, I think I've just seen Cocaine Bear and I've seen Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah, that's the one I saw.
But, and then also when they were showing there were wrestlers being showed also with all the celebrities. They played Across the Nation.
Oh, yes, that is a huge mark-out moment.
That is like, it could have brought tears to my eyes to hear the Union Underground's Across the Nation on Monday Night Raw. Because that was literally one of the best Monday Night Raw theme songs.
Oh, without a doubt. And what is your second place for theme song?
Wait, so you're saying as if this was the best theme song of Monday Night Raw history?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough one to call, but "Burn It to the Ground" is a fantastic theme song as well.
Yeah,
From Nickelback.
I like Nickelback. That's the one I was thinking of.
I don't know if I would put "Across the Nation" at number 1.
I think for me it may be.
Because the not the original theme song, "Thorn in Your Eye,"
I have to hear it.
the Attitude Era.
Yeah, I would go with the other ones above it.
Well, "Across the Nation," fantastic theme song. Very happy to have heard that. That is the Mark Out moment of the week. That is episode 727. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can follow us on Twitter at Markin Out, at BTTG161 on all platforms. Chris Sweendog, CM Sweeney85, David PTDPT on all platforms. Facebook.com/MarkinOut. YouTube and Instagram are Markin Out 11. ProWrestlingTees.com/MarkinOut if you'd like to support us in that way. At Markin Out on TikTok. You could follow us. You could rate, review, subscribe. Listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify Podcasts, YouTube, markinout.com. We wish you the best of
luck in your future
future
endeavors.
Have a fantastic week.